Ah, yes. From somebody that knows nothing about the culture, speaking on the culture, to somebody that is in the culture, that's trying to kind of avoid it or make themselves like they're not in too deep. So, Salute to Fat Joe. They run a show. This was actually a little while ago because this is during the time where a lot of people were talking about the Young Thug Rico case or the YSL Rico case. And in there during this show slash interview, Fat Joe was talking about his raps because there's also a big conversation surrounding raps being used in court. Which, if you've been following any bit of that YSL trial, they literally were playing Young Thug songs up in there and asking everybody about these lyrics. So I think there were some laws that were either trying to be passed or were passed that says, hey, maybe we can't use lyrics in the court of law, but that didn't fly in Atlanta so far. So yeah, here we in this, like I said, in this show or side interview, Fat Joe admits 95% of his raps are lies while defending Young Thug and made Rio case. Let's see what he had to say.
Professionally for 30 years. I've lied in almost 95% of my songs. I'm being not
Lied how?
lied.
Lied
Like
how? What do you
just
mean?
go. I write like I feel that day. I'm just being creative. If you could probably you couldn't build the jail high enough for the lyrics I've said on songs, which are all untrue. What I am is a family man, the person who gives back to my community all the time, open businesses in my community. So the music would never amount to the actual person, Joseph Cartagena. I've been rapping professionally for
So it was a Fat Joe. Man, in hearing this, if anyone's even familiar with the Terror Squad era, even Fat Joe's contribution to some of the big puns, works, like it wasn't for the faint of heart. So it was a lot of violence, a lot of drugs, like everything that old white people think about hip hop. It was better than there. So for him to come out and say like 95% of it was actually just wrong or not wrong but lies, it really makes you wonder. And I think what most people are thinking, he is really just using this as a cover for the fact that, hey, if people really want to go back and start jamming up rappers for the lyrics, he would be on the top of the list. But in the same vein, he's saying, it's all art, and at the end of the day, he's a family man, a businessman. What else did he say in there? Amen. And this kind of just feeds to the continual conversation that we've had about like art as it pertains to rap and rap needing to be authentic or not. So I guess like in hearing this, what are y'all thoughts? Do y'all think it's completely acceptable for an artist, a rapper, to come out and say, "Hey, the vast majority of things I rap about are 100% cap, and I'm just speaking from art." Or do you think that if an artist isn't living something, and they're like it is going to be capped, then they should just stay away from that? Because I mean, that's not common, but you could rap. You could just rap about being a businessman. You could just rap about being a family man. So why not just do that? What do you think, Ace?
Uh, to the first question, is it okay for them to come out and just say this, that all their stuff was lies?
Cap, straight cap.
Yeah, I mean I think that's fine. Um, I think that's fine, and I say that from a perspective of um, just like if we look at rappers like storytellers, any type of storyteller,
Poets.
then we don't. Yeah, exactly. We don't expect that um everybody who's written a book or directed a movie or whatever has been the first person perspective in that story. or lived that first person's perspective. So from that point of view, I think yes, it's it's fine for them to admit that. Um, I do think that it could rub fans the wrong way if um you've like in any way implied that the stuff that you've rapped about was like your background, was your um
which is
was
literally
part of your
every
experience.
rapper ever.
I mean, not every rapper though. Like, I mean, these backpack.
95%.
Nah,
Yeah,
no.
95%.
I guess. Maybe. Yeah.
I think you're talking about a type of rapper because there are a lot of rappers that don't rap about like a life of crime and violence and drugs.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that's
But
true.
even if you don't, it's still kind of implied that whatever you're rapping about, it's true to you, that you lived it in some aspect, I guess, even if it's not about a specific facet of the culture.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, for example, like like Danny Brown's with Danny Brown, obviously their lyrics largely included drug usage, and I fully believe like I think they have a life that showcased they consumed a lot of what they rapped about, what they spoke about.
Hmm.
And then vice versa. Like I said, you could rap about being like a family guy. No pun intended. And then you have guys
Well,
like
we
Chance
saw
the
how that
Rapper.
went for Chance.
Exactly. I was gonna
Exactly.
mention Chance the Rapper.
Mm. Um. Yeah. But what was the second part of the question? I forgot. It was
Um,
okay for them to come out with and say this, and
yeah, even I forgot. I guess I was just saying. Um, do yeah, I guess do we need our artists to be like authentic?
oh, um, I mean, yeah, I would prefer it, but I think it just comes down to the artist being honest about what they have lived. Like, if they haven't lived the stuff that they're rapping about, then say that. Like, don't 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 imply that you have, or leave it open to interpretation. Um, uh, I think that's my
They gotta
take.
come with a disclaimer at the start of every song.
Salute to
Not
Dirk.
part of every song. Well, yeah, he did. He did do that well, but I don't know, like interviews and things like that. I think that's where it would kind of be made known, like where your inspiration comes from. If it's not your own life, like just be honest about it. Like if you like Scorsese movies, for example, and that's why you rap from this gangster perspective, then say that. Don't just um leave it open to interpretation. I think that's kind of my thoughts on it.
Got you, got you. How about you, Ghost? What do you think about you think it's fully acceptable for an artist to come on and say, "Hey, all the stuff I'm rapping about is like 100% like cap, no facts involved"? And do you think do you need your artist to be authentic and what they're talking
Uh,
about?
I think it can be acceptable, and this is coming. This is just assuming it's just not talking about me. It's talking about like the general audience.
Yeah, yeah,
It's it's acceptable if you aren't big and if you aren't currently making music in your prime, because it's a lot different if Fat Joe says this than if like 21 said this to son that he's just capping out all his raps and it's complete fiction. Like you're gonna kind of get clown like Drake. Drake hasn't done anything like this, but people clown on Drake because they say he's not about that life. He just be saying stuff in his music that he grew up well, all this, and he's never come out and said that it's lies. People just infer that. So if someone actually said it and admitted to it, it depends on the demographic of rap or the type of rap that you're trying to audience you're trying to appeal to, but you're just gonna come off looking goofy. And again, it's different for Fat Joe. And again, by the way, we all know what he's doing. He's smart about it, but we all know what he's doing. Because I'm not saying if he did or didn't do the specific things he rapped about, but it's smart that he's saying he didn't. Because if the feds come knocking and he has this whole catalog of stuff admitting to a litany of crimes, and we saw it went for Young Thug, or it's going for Young Thug. But besides that point, like he's not like he's kind. I don't want to say he's retired, but he's like in the dead end of his career. It's like
Yeah,
he's not.
if he did this in the beginning, he would have been
Yeah,
laughed out the park.
yeah, exactly. So you can do it, but just be very aware of what can happen. And then, from my perspective, as far as like, do I need the artist to be genuine in their raps? It depends. Like for me, I've said this before. I will not get influenced in any way by whatever content is in an artist's music,
Yep.
good or bad. That's I just won't get influenced by it.
Oh, you're not good.
And
If rapper raps about doing community service, you're not gonna feel.
hell no.
You said there was a album. Wasn't there an album you listened to or you had on the list from last year that you said like
Yeah,
actually?
that wasn't rap.
Oh, you said only rap.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you said music, but okay, fine. Those always an
Well,
exception to the
okay,
rule.
even music, there's very rare exceptions, but even that, it's not like them talking about their life, and that makes me want to change. There's a certain perspectives and views that they might bring up in a lyric or two.
Mhm.
For rap, again, it's not going to really influence me. So if it does come out that certain stuff they're rapping about was false, I'm not. I kind of look at it just off the rip. When I'm first listening to a track, I'm assuming that there's some element of falsehood, there's some element of exaggeration. Like you might have witnessed it, you might have been a part of something similar, but I'm hoping and assuming that you weren't the one shooting up X, Y, and Z. And I'm just thinking of a couple songs that like they talk about shooting and hitting kids by accident and crazy shit. And I'm in my mind, I'm like, okay, you might have experienced something like this or seen something like this, but you haven't done this act yourself. So unless it's like like a I don't want to say a John Morant situation, but
Hmm.
like you acted hard, you grew up in a gated community, and what's the 8 Mile? What's it, Clarence? What's his name?
Wait a minute.
What's a situation like that, and it's really egregious. Uh, I'm not. I'm not gonna be too pressed over it, but there has to be some like you can't have a great life and then pretend you grew up in like you can't do that. Like that's too much. But
I think
some element of lives is it's fine for me.
I think it sounds like you're saying like, for example, if an artist grew up in that environment and they've seen things, maybe like it's been almost like in their face, or it happening on the news, and then they rap about it. Maybe you'd be way more accepting of that, opposed to if
Yeah,
they.
it's more about like authenticity than actual full on truthfulness, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I think a lot of people are generally accepting of that. I feel, I mean, not, I don't want to put anything or not put or take away from anybody. I feel like that's a lot of what was encapsulated. That's what last I always took that to be a lot of what how Nas produced his songs.
Yeah, I was
Um,
thinking of New York State of Mind.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
about shooting up the building lobby. Yeah, it's
yeah,
like
yeah, and even like Pac, I feel like I feel as if that's another good example of an artist that spoke from a perspective of their environment and not necessarily they had to be in every one of those
yeah, yeah, yeah.
scenarios. Um, yeah, and I think I largely agree with your sentiment, Ace, about just how it's 100%. I mean, yeah, you might get clowned on for a bit, but I mean, it's better than actual committing crime, of course. I think it's better to be honest in like your interviews and however else you want to be honest or however else you, where any other medium you want to like speak on that. Just like, I'm a storyteller. I'm just an artist, not just an artist, but I'm an artist. I'm creating art based off my experiences or what I feel compelled to rap about or make music about. That I don't have to be in it to I don't want to be in it to actually have to speak on it. I think a lot of people accept that. And I think it's probably better to do it sooner than later, because if you do it 30 years later, then people just look at you like, hey, you're literally just doing this to try to cover up things so that the feds never come after your butt. But, so he's not capping. He's a businessman. He's a family man. He be posting pictures with his children.
Is his son the one that got caught up in that scam or that scheme or whatever? Or am I thinking of someone else?
I'm not 100% sure about that. I know he has multiple sons. So I'm not 100% sure about that. But, that's what's the fat, Joe. What's love got to do with it? But if there's nothing else, we can move on to the next topic.